Level 1. The public stage. You stand in a crowd. The smell of smoke and iron hangs in the air. Someone's fate is a spectacle. Spectacles were tools. A thunder of approval meant order. Silence meant fear. You watch a body, not a person. Pain is a lesson delivered publicly. Here, punishment is theater. The goal: deters, teaches, marks the line. You learn by watching others break. You learn your place. Your empathy is anesthetized. The crowd becomes the law. Your reactions are shaped by applause and gasps. This is the oldest contract between rulers and ruled. You pay attention because you might be next. You carry the image home. It changes how you measure safety. It tells you obedience is survival. It trains the mind to accept cruelty as order. Level 2. The art of erasure. You are removed from names. Exile is a social death. No tombstone, no last rites. You learn isolation rewires the brain. Alone, time stretches into interrogation. Oubliettes and solitary cells manufacture silence. Your memories get sharper, then fuzzy. Your inner voice becomes your tormentor. No audience, no justice, no witness. Erasure is a punishment that whispers. It doesn't leave scars the world can see. It rewires trust. You begin to distrust your own thoughts. The mind scrabbles for meaning. When meaning fades, people fragment. This is where punishment becomes internal. It learns to live inside you. You become the place where your crime is replayed. You are punished by the absence of others. You learn that people can die socially long before they die physically. Level 3. The machinery of pain. You watch instruments designed to extract. Racks and thumbscrews are engineering with purpose. Torture teaches more than confession. It teaches power dynamics. You realize pain can be measured like currency. Pain buys compliance. Pain is a language. Confession becomes the product of pressure. You learn that the truth under duress is mutable. Systems designed to break bodies also break facts. You understand how guilt is manufactured. And mass acceptance follows a blueprint. Public acceptance, legal cover, ritualized cruelty. You see how obedience is purchased. You see how officials feel less responsibility when an institution distributes cruelty. The mind adapts. It normalizes extraordinary violence. It rationalizes what it must to survive. That rationalization becomes a cultural muscle. You can feel it stretching through generations. Level 4. Branding the soul. You are reduced to a mark. Brands, tattoos, iron stamps. Punishment writes itself onto flesh. Ownership is enforced through identity removal. You watch a person become property. Slavery compresses punishment into permanence. Forced labor is a classroom for humiliation. The lesson? You are less than. You internalize second-class status. Your worth is legislated. Public rituals confirm it. Shame becomes inherited. Children learn their place in silence. The state speaks, and society repeats. Punishment becomes a generational debt. You see how cruelty calcifies into culture. You realize punishment isn't only about correction. It's about sustaining a hierarchy. It teaches the ruled to accept subjugation. And slowly, subtly, your imagination of justice shrinks. Level 5. Industrialized suffering. You walk past factories of punishment, chains, quotas, the clank of routine cruelty. Concentration camps are systems, not accidents. You see efficiency meet ideology. Mass punishment scales up. A single bureaucrat's stroke multiplies pain. Numbers erase faces. Logistics replace moral reckoning. You learn that systems can be crueler than individuals. Distance enables the business of harm. You don't see the hands that sign the orders. You see only the results. This is the shift from spectacle to system. Violence loses drama. It gains predictability. People adapt, survive, and sometimes become complicit. The mind learns to categorize victims. It learns to dissociate. You realize that cruelty institutionalized is the hardest to dismantle. Level 6. The quiet punishments. You experience shame without scars. Public shaming, ostracism, surveillance. Modern punishments often target the mind. Embarrassment can destroy livelihoods. You become careful with your voice. You monitor your online shadow. Surveillance rewires privacy into paranoia. You calculate steps you never calculated before. The threat is not iron or fire. It is exposure, erasure, and social death. These are punishments that do not leave physical marks. They fracture relationships. They fracture futures. They are surgical in their cruelty. You learn that silence can be enforced without a whip. You learn that the mind becomes the battleground. You don't just fear pain. You fear being unreadable. And that fear shapes your behavior. Level 7. The psychological shift. You notice the pattern. Punishment moved from bodies to identities, from spectacle to systems, from external pain to internal prisons. You see the evolution of control. Modern institutions prefer compliance over confession. They prefer surveillance over spectacle. They prefer efficiency over wrath. This shift changes the moral economy. Where once punishment sought visible deterrence, it now seeks invisible conformity. You begin to understand why empathy is the target. Cruelty adapts. It learns subtler languages. It trades screams for metrics. You realize rehabilitation can be co-opted. When metrics mean recidivism rates, not human repair, you get systems that manage, not heal. You see the paradox. Less blood, more broken minds. Level 8. What you do next. You are not powerless. Awareness is the first act of resistance. You can learn to name the systems. You can challenge the rituals. You can refuse to applaud cruelty. You can refuse to accept silence as justice. You can demand transparency where secrecy breeds abuse. You can insist that rehabilitation centers the human, not the statistic. You can protect the name of someone erased. You can practice small acts of recognition. You can restore stories. Change often starts with a tiny moral recalibration. You decide how your society marks wrongs. You decide what counts as a punishment. Do you want fear or repair? Do you want spectacle or dignity? These choices shape minds across generations. You carry the responsibility. You carry the possibility of a different future. If you choose empathy, you begin to break the machinery. You make the world a place where punishment never again becomes an identity. You make room for accountability that heals rather than annihilates. You make justice a conversation, not a performance. End. You leave the crowd. You take the image, but you do not keep it as it was. You remake it with awareness. Every next generation learns what you let stand. Every choice nudges the arc of punishment toward or away from cruelty. You hold the lever. Choose with the clarity you now carry.